Okay, so the next question. This is a really we run into this all the time. This is not one of our clients, Michaela. It sounds like you're under contract right now, or you're about ready to operate or write a contract. And the question was, when we're writing that contract and we're going through the home, like how do we know what's included with that home, and how do we know what's not included? And number one, when anytime you ever have a question around what's included or when the closing is or anything like that, your first thing is to go to the contract, right? So whatever the real estate contract, assuming you use the California purchase agreement, what we call this the RPA, the residential purchase agreement in California. Assuming you're using that doc, which you always should use when buying a home in Carlsbad, California, that's going to outline exactly what is included. So let's say nothing was changed. You leave the doc, the contract as it is. There's a purchase price, there's all that stuff. And you're like, okay, well, now what do we do? Well, typically, everything that is physically mounted to the house is included. So we're talking blinds, we're talking shutters, appliances. Like let's say the microwave is hung on the wall, the range, all of that stuff is included. The refrigerator is typically not included. You need to ask for the refrigerator. There's a little box you can check on that. Window treatments are included with that. Stuff outside. If there's a TV hanging on the wall outside, if there's a TV hanging on the wall in the home, there's a little bit of gray area in that. And so if you tour the home and the home has TVs on the wall, and let's see that it looks like they're like it's custom built in, like you can definitely tell like the TV goes with the home. Then to be safe in the contract, I would make sure they know that, hey, we're writing this price at these terms and this time, and we want the TVs included. We want the refrigerator included. We want the washer and dryer included. Now, if the washer and dryer are not included in the sale, I think that's totally okay. I don't necessarily think if somebody doesn't want to include the washer and dryer, like I wouldn't look at that as a negative. I would actually assume that most of the time the washer and dryer and the refrigerator are not going to be included in the sale. That typically goes with the homeowner to the next home, assuming it fits. But everything in California in regards to writing a purchase contract, everything, including the terms in the contract, is fully negotiable, right? So if you're already under contract right now, whatever the contract states is what needs to happen, right? So let's say there was a mistake on the contract. Let's say that there was a verbal understanding that the refrigerator was going to be included in the sale, but in the contract, it was not in there. It's really simple to adapt that. Have your real estate agent write an addendum that says, we're correcting the purchase contract to include the refrigerator. It needs to go to the listing agent. The listing agent, client, the seller of the home, they need to sign that. This needs to be mutually agreed on that. If they don't sign it, it's not included. But if it is a misunderstanding, we can always clean that up with an addendum after. And that happens, from time to time because things move quick and all that happens. We want to be a conduit to the sale, and we want to make sure that we do this in the right way. If it's not in the contract, just assume it's not included unless stated otherwise. But if there's a misunderstanding, have the agents have a communication back and forth first before we send agreements over, because we don't want things to go crazy. And then if the buyer and the seller agree to include something that maybe wasn't on the contract, it's a really simple signature. You give that over to escrow, and then a close of escrow. Everything happens. I can't tell you how many times in the past we have closed escrow, and the buyer takes keys of the home, both me on the listing side of the transaction and on the buyer side of the transaction, and the buyer goes to do their walkthrough, or they're excited, they get the keys, they go right to the home, and they say, hey, we're missing a ceiling fan, and the fridge is gone, and we thought the grill that was attached to the outdoor barbecue, like that whole outdoor kitchen was included. They're gone. So we call the other agent, and the other agent calls the seller, and the seller's like, oh, I had no idea those were included. Yeah, we took those, and we're already on our way to wherever, right? So there's got to be some, stuff that we can go back and forth. So make sure that if something's really, really important to you, review the contract. If you think there's some gray area around it, Michaela, then just reach out to the other agent, or have your agent reach out to the other agent, have a conversation around it, clean it up with an addendum. That way, when you actually close on the home, everything is happy, and you're not super stressed out around that, because this is already as stressful as it needs to be. You guys have probably figured this out by now, but it can be cleaned up really simple with an addendum. So I hope that answers it, Michaela. I will email you this after we go live. Any questions, let us know. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of the Carlsbad Report. If you have not already, there is a link in the description below to go to a page that looks just like this. We send one email out every single Thursday at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and it is everything that you need to know to stay in front of the Carlsbad real estate market. It's totally free. It's one email a month. There's no obligation. You don't even need to use us as your real estate team. I just want to make sure you're informed of everything that's going on, and you can unsubscribe anytime. So click the link below, register for the email. It's Thursdays at 2 o'clock. It's read by thousands. I know you're going to love it. And we'll see you on the next one. In the meantime, check out related video above or consider subscribing to the channel. All right. Thanks a lot. And we'll see you tomorrow on the next one.